Hello guys, so I fell a little bit behind with the video journals, so we're gonna go over all the 5 trades that I have to catch up on. So we're gonna start with a swing trade on AUD CHF. So the analysis, as always, begins on the high time frame. We clearly swept here this weekly low, so weekly structural low. So that was obviously a huge liquidity pool, and then we got our 4-hour entry drill, right? We had the first leg fair value gap, second leg fair value gap, putting a nice close beyond the structure point in place here, and also created exact equals here, having more equals here and here. So a ton of buy side liquidity waiting for us. And so I just thought it was a very nice setup. And what actually ended up happening is I get tagged here, and price just absolutely gives zero fucks about this demand and also about this demand, and it at least was a relatively quick loss. So let's move on over to another swing trade that I took, GBP JPY. So let me just rewind that a little further. Oh, let's just take it from here, it doesn't matter. So weekly analysis, same setup type. We have the weekly structural low that gets swept, okay? And then, as you know with me, it's always the same. We sweep the weekly structure point, okay? Then we get this huge push out. Then we come down back into this demand. We have a ton of equals here. So this is a typical accumulation, okay? We are stuck here, consolidating, accumulating tons of rejections. Then we sweep the rejections and have a nice next breakout, okay? We create this first demand here at the bottom, then a second demand here, first fair value gap, first leg, second fair value gap, closing above this inducement high here, and in the end we make almost relative equals with here, and I use this retracement here to get in. We create another little accumulation, stacked lows here, and in hindsight I wish I would have waited for a better entry here to make the trade go over, get over with it quicker. But in the end, we do the same as here, right? We put a lot of equals here, we sweep the equals and push out. A lot of equals here, sweep the equals, push out. Closing above this high, so I was optimistic on the trade. I thought like, okay, it's probably gonna be a winner. And then we come back down, very corrective. We mitigate this demand, and price just keeps making beautiful higher highs here. The demand's just consecutively working out, and yeah, took quite long this trade, 2 weeks, but behaved so nicely, ultimately coming for this final target here, which was this pair of equals here on the 4-hour, and also just a nice structural inducement high on the weekly, so that was the logical target. And it's also nice to see, you know, when you have the TP in the right place, price reverses right after. So that's like even more satisfying than just winning. It is seeing it reverse after your take profit is it. So yeah, so far so good. Let's get over to the day trading side of things, which I took a total of 3 trades also on GJ, my new favorite day trading pair. It really moves so nicely. So yeah. Let me just change the charts, and then I'll see you over there. Thank you for meeting me on the charts again here. We have now the intraday perspective on GJ. And let's start the analysis on the 4-hour though. As always, we start on the high time frame. So we get this tap into the... First of all, we have the little accumulation here again, we sweep it. Then we fail to mitigate this top imbalance here, and then we come lower on the 4-hour, okay? So we sweep this, what I thought as probably the final inducement, okay? We sweep this, and I expected this 4-hour demand after the inducement sweep, ultimately leading to higher prices, okay? So that was the analysis from a 4-hour perspective, high time frame perspective. Just this clean M15 demand here as well, right? So I just thought that we're gonna head higher from that. On the M5, on the M5, we see we get our breakout structure above this, and getting another couple of closes above. So if this would be a bearish inducement sweep, we would probably not see all these closes. okay, we would probably reject and come lower right away. So these additional closes really made me confident. Also on the M15, we see we had 2 consecutive fair value gaps. So I was confident on this. It was looking good, and I thought we're gonna come at least for this inducement, or probably for the high of the day, or make another high of the day. So yeah, it was all looking good. It was all to plan, and let's see what happened. First of all, I get tagged and we push up right away. Then we come lower, but you see how choppy that is, right? For me, that just looks like a winning trade still. You know, we have this inducement, we fail to break higher, we come down choppy, we sweep this bullish candle, and I thought this is still looking great. We still have this bottom fair value gap that we are coming now for, and this was just so choppy, right? When I saw this fat rejection though, I started to get some doubts, and you know, because it was like I was waiting forever for this to pop up, and it was getting late in the day. And this trend line though, no, I was really still believing in it, because look at this trend line, this was just bound to break higher. But as you can see, ultimately it ended up as a loss, but it just was, you know, we had the London sweep, we had the break of structure, everything was completely to plan. It was a good loss, I would say. So here I thought it was probably the ultimate trap here, my stop loss being the last trap, and then we break higher, which we kind of did at first, but then ultimately we failed again. So price was just not ready to go higher, and that's totally okay. So let me just go ahead to the next trade. Next trade happened here. It was a continuation trade, which I don't really do too often, but I just thought it looked nice. So let's start the high time frame analysis. We had this beautiful, this was actually my take profit from the swing trade. Okay, so we have this weekly structure sweep here. Okay, this sweeps, this equals this weekly structure, tapping into weekly fair value gap, I think, as well. And so shorts were just due, right? And we just had a beautiful structure shift in London. You see, we sweep the weekly structure, first leg, second leg, consecutive fair value gaps, just beautiful, bears in control. And I just thought, from how that presented itself, you know, this order block here on the M15 swept this high as inducement. You see that? We sweep this high as inducement, and then we break lower with closes below and a new fair value gap. So just from a M15 perspective, that was already so clean. And my target was 2R for this inducement. You know, we had this huge fair value gap here below. So that just made price was so high up on the high time frame. We swept so much high time frame liquidity. I was just so confident that we're gonna head lower from that. And I also like that we opened bullish first to stop some people out here, and then we had the real bearish move. So for me, it just looked like we're gonna come for that inducement. So I was very happy with the trade. Let's just check the M5. You see how clean that looks on the M5, right? First leg, then we have a second leg putting some equals or relative equals in here, and I was just happy with that trade. It was a continuation trade, which is never A+. So I don't even remember if I took this with full risk or little or less risk. I don't remember, to be honest. I think I took this with reduced risk, like half risk. No, I didn't. I remember I didn't. I was just going for it anyway. But if this trade loses, we would probably come for this fair value gap. So this was the catch of this trade, the weakness of the setup. But I thought it would be worth it anyway. So let's see what happened. We break lower nicely, but then we sweep, and this is just not ideal, because we sweep London. We sweep Asia low here, and these equals here with Asia low, and then we instantly come higher, but in a choppy fashion at least. So I was still believed in it, but it didn't look ideal. Then we came down, then we came up again, and it was just not nice. Almost stopped me out here. Then we broke lower again. But you see how it is just accumulating, then it's so late in the day. And here I thought, okay, if we don't come for a take profit now, it's probably gonna not work out, because you look how choppy that is. No areas for price unmitigated anymore. So if price comes up now, where is it gonna magically reverse from? You know, it's all balanced here now. So for me, it was like, okay, I should probably go break even on that. And this is what I ultimately did. Not a fan of break evens anymore because I was just too happy with going break even. I was doing that too often, but I think in that context, it made perfect sense because, like I said, there's all mitigated, it's all balanced. The trade is so old, no momentum is there. So at this point, I was just feeling like I would just gamble holding that because the validity of the setup is just not there anymore. It's all balanced here and it's just fucking around. So I was very happy with that break-even decision. In that context, it was just perfectly logical. It was almost end of day as well. Swap fees obviously extremely high for shorts on yen pairs. So that was just so logical to go break even on that. It was just making perfect sense. So let's see what happened after. Actually, we would have ended up losing this trade. So that is also a nice thing to see, obviously, after you take a break even. So let's just go ahead to the last setup. Let me just fast forward it from here. So we had Asia mitigating this imbalance and then just having a major sell-off in Frankfurt, or Frankfurt made this high, tapping into this fair value gap. Okay, this is still the weekly structure sweep area, so super strong area to hold, and it proved itself to be strong. You know, we mitigated and dumped completely, man. So this is what I thought would happen here. Happened a little later. It is what it is. So we have this huge freak bearish push here now, and then let's keep fast forwarding. Let's go to the M5 for now, see it a little more in detail. Okay, so London ultimately comes back up, and then we have New York open. Okay, and as you can see, we are starting to form this trend line, and we have a bearish open. So bearish open is always a sign for not taking shorts until we at least come higher. Okay, if a session opens right away bearish, trading is not that easy. Oh, it opened bearish, so I'm gonna sell. No, it's mostly a trap. Okay, so this was actually a fair value gap. No, almost a fair value gap. I thought it was one on the M15, and it was a nice multiple breaks of structures with this trend line. Okay, on the M5. So this was just a perfect seller's trap. Okay, it was perfect to trap all the sellers. We have this M5 fair value gap that I thought was M15. So this is a perfect trap. You know, the session opens bearish. We sweep London high. We have the trend line below. But because of the session opening right away bearish, this is just a perfect trap. So I was licking my lips. I was really getting ready for, I don't know, like something like this. We get higher than this, to then come lower, you know, or ideally we sweep this and then sell off. Or option 3 obviously is that we come even higher, okay, and re-sweep the weekly structure sweep, okay, maybe in a slow consolidating fashion. That would be even cleaner. Get a sweep, break below, and then sell this thing off. Okay, so I was licking my lips. I thought this is really cooking something up, especially with that trend line being so ridiculous, man. So we actually give this trend line another touch and another touch. So I was really like, whew, this is looking good. So here we get the sweep of this high, okay? And then what happens is interesting. Okay, we sell off with aggression. Okay, so the catch here was a little bit that we have, normally we want to see a break of structure, okay, but we didn't get that here because the structural low is just so low. It's just one bull push here, so we don't really get the break of structure because it is so low, the low. So but what we can see here is we get our first fair value gap here on the M15, okay, and we just see that we create multiple legs here. Okay, we get our first lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, and that for me makes up to not have a break of structure because we have bearish established order flow and the M15 fair value gap after this sweep. that was obviously a huge liquidity pool. And we have the trend line below. So for me, it was okay to not get that break of structure. We are getting close to that trend line. We give it another touch. So the liquidity here was like cooking, really cooking. When I saw that we are rejecting from that trend line again, I was like, okay, I don't need a break of structure. This is so confluenced. Okay, so ultimately I took this by limit. Okay, I'm gonna explain you something. Let me just put another position tool here. Okay, so I took the trade from here, and my target, my TP was just 2R, okay, under this. So if this demand in some way, shape or form holds, I want to be out of the trade and just have my profits taken, okay? So I was just simply going for 2R, so my entry was literally just an entry for 2R, so basically like FIB style, and this has to take profit, okay? So this was my original target. So I just got in here by limit order, not overcomplicating or over-refining the entry, just limit for 2R and that's it. And then we see price takes a little to accumulate here. Then we get our M5 break of structure here, okay? Then we fail to break this high and we come lower. And we see that the bearish order flow just persists, okay? And we are actually at my TP here now. But because of the news rules, it was FOMC meeting after the interest rate decision on US dollar. So I was not allowed to take any profits while that speech was going on, okay? So I had to take profit off, which I did. And I basically just had to pray for this 1 hour to not get stopped out at break even. Obviously, or not obviously, but with Alpha Capital Group, you can get taken out for break even without breaching or breaking the news, but you can't take any profit. So I was basically forced to take TP off, put my stop loss to the entry, and just pray for that 1 hour that price doesn't reverse on me. So with take profit off, I waited for the speech to finish, gave it an extra 5, 6, 7 minutes after the speech ended just to be on the safe side of things, and ultimately closed it. So here I was still in the trade, and when the speech was over, price was here, and I closed it like 6, 7 minutes after the speech ended. So I actually ended up making more profits than planned, and we were ultimately for the final target coming for this low, which is also nice to see. I thought this would be the final target, and but I just want to be out of the trade. I don't want to take risks here, you know, so that's why my planned take profit was higher up. But in the end, it was a nice winner. Congratulations, Alpha Capital Group, for your intelligent news rules. I made actually have more money to pay out now. If it wasn't for that rule, or how do you say, like, because of that rule, I'm paying out more now. So congratulations to you, Alpha Capital Group. Thank you very much. And that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. I know it's a longer one covering 5 trades, but yeah, let me know what you think about the trades. If you have any questions about the setup, just ask. And yeah, I'll catch you in the next one, guys. Take care.